I wish you could see yourself. You're sitting there on my chair. I'm staring at you. You don't even notice. Should've told you straight away. You don't have to be afraid anymore. I know you haven't noticed. You know, you know that I won't let you go. Put your arms around me and I'll let you know how it feels when time goes slow. And I won't let it rush when I see you dance. And the moment comes when I fall and time goes slow. I fall into you. I fall into you.
Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, this is Will Dragon Whisperer, back with another video for the channel. And next week I will be doing part 2 of how my taming is coming along with Jax, my Savannah Monitor, and Bubba, my Argentine black and white Tegu. But I have 2 of my baby bearded dragons here with me today, Bella and Rogue, 2 of my females that I just produced. And in this video today, we're going to be talking about UVB lighting. There's a lot of misconceptions about UVB lighting, when it is needed, when it's not needed, and how important and how invaluable it is to our reptiles. So I'm going to be covering a lot of different things about UVB lighting and why and where and when it is needed in our reptile collection. So hope you guys learn a lot from this video. Smash that like button, ring that notification bell if you haven't already subscribed, and can't wait to get into the video. So let's hit the road.
Where we're going, we don't need road.
Now you guys, this is Ninja, and she's a star of the reptile room and a star of the channel. She's the sweetest little baby dragon you've ever seen. She's actually about 2.5 years old, almost a full-grown adult now. I received her from Ricky T. Big shout out to Ricky, one of my first subscribers. He had gotten this dragon as a Christmas present, and we're still not really sure if she was getting the wrong supplement or if he had a full spectrum bulb and not a UVB bulb. But this is what results in your reptiles when they don't get UVB light in the proper supplements. She has severe metabolic bone disease. Her spine is pretty much in an S shape. She has what would be kind of severe scoliosis in a human, and this is a straight result of the lack of calcium in her diet and the lack of UVB. Reptiles need UVB light to metabolize calcium. They cannot do it without UVB rays from the sun or a UVB bulb. And this is what happens. They develop metabolic bone disease, soft bones, they become misshapen, they don't grow properly, and she has had severe nerve damage because of that, occurring to her spine. She had necrosis in her tail and had to have it amputated, but that was when she was about 4 months old. That's completely healed, and she's grown tremendously here in the room, and it hasn't progressed any worse. She pulls herself along with her front legs and is able to hunt and is able to drag herself over and eat her salad. I'm aggravating her now, but this is a sweet little girl. But this is what happens when you don't give the proper lighting and supplement and this metabolic bone disease sets in. UVB rays are imperative for reptiles. And I think a lot of people are under the misconception that if they can't afford a bulb or they are able to put their tank by a window, that your animal can get UVB rays from the sun. But that is impossible through your window. UVB ray cannot go through house windows since like the 1960s. So sitting your tank or your reptile by a window, I don't care if the sun is beaming down on that animal, they are not getting UVB rays through the glass. It is impossible. So you cannot give your animal UVB by sitting it by a window. Unless it is outside in the open sunshine, it cannot get UVB through glass or a window. It has to have a UVB bulb or direct sunlight. That is the only way they can metabolize calcium. Now here in my Tegu enclosure, I have an 18-inch UVB strip light with a high intensity UVB strip bulb. So that is one of the options that I'm using here for my Tegu to try to provide a lot of UVB in a big tank. Now this is a 4x2x2 enclosure that I've included in a recent video, built for customer Cameron Webb for a Columbia tree boa, or Columbia red-tail boa, I'm sorry. But now I've actually got a big breeder female. She's a normal in here, and she's paired with my pied het candy. So I have a 24-inch UVB strip light in here. This is probably the best option for a 4 foot by 2 foot enclosure. The bigger the UVB light, the better, and these strip lights provide way more coverage than the coil or screw-in bulbs. And I know a lot of people say ball pythons and Columbia red-tailed boas don't need UVB, but it is still beneficial. And I do believe the same advice that Adam gives on his channel, Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles, that if an animal is corpuscular or nocturnal or an albino and it doesn't really like the UVB light, it's still something it's going to encounter in the wild. And if you give it plenty of hides and places to get away from that light, it's still not going to be detrimental to its health. The animal can get away from the light if it wants to, and if they're nocturnal or crepuscular, they're probably not going to be out when the light is on anyway. But that is a 24-inch UVB strip light, and that is going to give you great coverage over a large enclosure, a 4 foot or a 3 foot enclosure. Now this is an arboreal type setup. I have a Colombian red-tailed tree boa, an albino named Anakin. He is nestled down there in his little wooden hide, and he has large water bowl. But I am going to be converting this enclosure soon, after I talked to Kevin, and he gave me some advice on how to maintain humidity in a big screen enclosure like this. So I'm actually going to put a water tub and mount it underneath where it will slide underneath there. And I'm going to put in a tube here that's going to keep the substrate, going to be about 4 to 6 inches. It's going to keep the substrate from getting down in the tub. And I'm going to have a tub I can slide in and out underneath here that the boa can get down into and be like a little humid hide, a little humidity box with water down there. But this is where I have my Colombian tree boa Anakin, and here I have a UVB screw-in bulb. Now he's an albino, and it's not really necessary for the species, but here in this type of setup, he has plenty of places to get away from that UVB light, but he still can be exposed to it, and it really doesn't filter too much down here to the bottom, so he has a lot of shaded areas down at the bottom where he can get away from that UVB light. But this is another option where I just have a screw-in coil UVB bulb screwed in here, and that gives some UVB light, but not too much if you're worried about albino or a species that doesn't really want to interact with that type of a light. This still gives them that option to get the benefits from it, but plenty of areas and places then they can get away from it if they do not want to be exposed to it. Same principle here. I have a a leopard gecko set up. I'm sure Leo is in his Band-Aid box humid hide here where oh, sorry, he got me, so he's probably there in his cave. Yeah, you can just make out his tail there. But this is a leopard gecko setup, and I have the same, a coil style UVB bulb there you can see up in the light fixture. And a lot of people do not give their leopard geckos UVB, or they raise them in tub setups. But same thing, he has multiple places. He has his little cave hide here, his little humid hide. He has the coconut, he has the cave over here. So he has plenty of places to get away from that UVB light, but I still feel like it's necessary and beneficial to provide it to as many animals as possible, that it is not detrimental to their health. And once again, here is one of my crested gecko setups. I believe UVB light is really beneficial to them as far as color development and pattern development. And these, I have the double hood light here, the Exoterra double hood here. So they have two UVB screw-in bulbs. So a lot of UVB light and wattage, or rays rather, going down into their enclosure, but still plenty of places they can escape from it, plenty of hides and dark areas that they can get away from it during the day so that they can sleep peacefully. But I still believe that UVB is beneficial, and that dual hood really provides a place for two screw-in bulbs. So even though it doesn't have the strip light, still has plenty of coverage with the dual bulbs. And here is my big stud Ramses. beautiful blue bar citrus, my breeder, the father of my 3 little babies I'm raising up right now. And here's another option, not the most ideal, but I don't have a strip bulb in Ramsey's tank. Those fixtures are rather expensive, and the bulbs are rather expensive, and due to my large collection, I have had to try to cut some corners and save some money in some places. So here he has 2 ceramic screw-in fixtures that I mounted in this tank, and as you can see, the conduit and the wire is ran up through some plastic track there, so it's not exposed. He can't jump up there and grab onto it or climb on it or get wrapped up in it. But here you have the 2 screw-in bulbs, because the 1 screw-in bulb is not really going to provide coverage you would need over a enclosure this large. This is a 4-foot by 2-foot enclosure, which is pretty necessary for a full-grown bearded dragon, if not bigger. So here I have the UVB bulb by his basking area, so where he spends the majority of the time, he's getting coverage there, and then when he's over in his cool side, he still has coverage. So if you're going to have the screw-in bulbs in a tank this big, you really need to have multiple, because the dragon's probably going to spend a majority of his time on the warm side, but you still want that coverage when he's on the cool side. I see a lot of people put the heat lamp over here and then 1 screw-in bulb way over here on the cool side, and then the animal spends 80% of its day over here, and it's not really getting the rays from that bulb that's way over here on this side of the tank. It's not, this light's cast down in a cone shaped pattern. I'll kind of try to highlight that on the screen. So if you only have the 1 bulb on the right side and he's over here in the basking area, he's probably not going to be getting much of those rays, if any. So something to consider in the large tank. If you have 1 bulb and it's all you can afford, you really probably want it to be over here on the basking side. Once again, you guys, this is Will Dragon Whisperer. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hope you guys have learned a little bit more about UVB rays and why they are so important and beneficial to our reptile collections. Thank you guys so much. Smash that like button. Ring that notification bell. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. And thank you so much to the 1,680 subscribers and channel supporters I already have. I cannot tell you guys how much you mean to me. Please consider reaching out to me in the comments section on Instagram if you have any questions about your animals or your reptiles. I always reply to every single comment. Thank you guys so much. I'm the Dragon Whisperer, and I'm out.